past 7. So, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning. Our invocation will be led by Nancy Ferry.
Thank you very much. This is from a Sanskrit writing. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the varieties and realities of your existence. The bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is already a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Excellent, superb.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
I meant president.
Thank you. Now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice
justice for all.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for the wonderful invocation. Good morning to one and all. Happy Thursday. I know it's a bit foggy outside, really foggy.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Well, from my vantage point outside my window, but anyway, are there any announcements this morning from the floor? Sylvia.
Just reminding everyone, dues are due. And also the invoice that I sent, unfortunately, I didn't change the zip code from Tracy's to mine. Gasport zip code is 14067. If you would like to mail a check, you're more than welcome. PayPal is real easy to use. And thank you, Len and Tracy and Jackie, for the weekend of support there. Oh, the cards are working. I got everything. We're on a roll here. So
I already sent a check to the Tracy's zip code, but your address, what will happen to it?
it might get here. It might bounce back to you, but they might figure it out. Gasport's zip code. They might just cross it out and we'll see. I'll let you know.
I did the same thing, just mailed it the other day.
Okay. It may get here real quick. I mean, mail's moving slow as it is, but I think they're going to end up crossing it out. If not, it'll be returned to you.
But if it says Gasport, I think they will be able to fix it easily.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't stay for this meeting. So thank you everyone for cooperating and helping over the weekend. Have a good meeting.
Thanks, Sylvia.
Thanks, Sylvia.
Thanks, Sylvia.
Are there any further announcements?
It's not a ballot, so it should make it, right?
All right, I'll turn things over to our Toastmaster of the day, Carol Ann. Carol.
Thank you, Eric. Good morning. I've chosen a timely theme, transition from summer to fall. My husband Dan and I definitely have a favorite season, and it's summer. He works very hard with taking care of our huge garden, and we never miss the Chautauqua, Niagara, and Erie County fairs. We love the carousel in Alcott, along with the concerts there and in Newfane, but not in the summer of 2020. And Lake Canandaigua is usually a summer destination for us. Deep Run is our favorite beach on the lake. Of course, it was closed due to COVID. And the restaurant adjacent to the motel where we usually stay was only offering takeout this year. And we really enjoy going in there and sitting down for breakfast. And it's served by the same waitresses that have been there for years. So kind of feels like we're with family, but not in the summer of 2020. And many people are grateful for the change in weather that fall brings. The heat of the sun is not so oppressive. It's not so humid. And the air is just crisper. And as the meteorologists on TV usually say, better sleeping weather. However, we have an air-conditioned central air in our home, air-conditioned cars. We have a convertible and a pool, so we usually are able to escape the heat and stay cool. Actually, autumn is one of the 4 seasons of the year, and the time of the year that actually transitions summer into winter. Daylight becomes noticeably shorter, which I don't like, and the temperature cools considerably. Then the leaves of our deciduous trees begin to fall. Actually, fall starts with the September equinox, the 22nd this year, and it goes to the winter solstice, which is December 21st. And to me, winter starts long before December 21st in Western New York. And autumn, the word comes from autumnus, the Latin, and it's the passing of the year. And actually, before the 16th century, fall was actually called harvest. And the word fall comes from Old English for fallen, and it usually denotes something actually falling, but it ended up being the falling of the leaves. Now let me introduce our job holders. Do we have Kate Banks for a word master?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, Carol. What a wonderful theme. I was just taking notes already. Fascinating. Our word of the day doesn't specifically connect to fall, but I'll put it in the chat. The word of the day is camaraderie. I muted myself somehow. Sorry about that. Camaraderie is a noun, and I put it in the chat. Please use the word of the day, camaraderie, mutual trust and friendship among people who spend a lot of time together. A genuine camaraderie is the heartbeat of our AM Lockport Toastmasters Club. Thanks, Carol.
Let's see, Gerald Stevens will be our grammarian. Can you describe your job?
Morning, fellow Toastmasters. I don't know if we have any guests. As grammarian today, I will analyze your speech and determine if there's ways for you to improve your grammar. Not my strength for sure, especially in writing, so it will help me as well to listen carefully today. And I definitely enjoy the camaraderie of Toastmasters and other volunteer groups I do, so it's fun. Thank you.
And Beth Banks, do we have a quote from you?
Sorry, we were muted there. Yes, I do have a quote about fall. Would you like to hear that quote now?
Yes.
Okay. The heat of autumn is different from the heat of summer. One ripens apples, the other turns them to cider. That is Jane Hirschfield.
Thank you. Eric, do you have something to make us chuckle this morning?
Sure. Sure I do. I might kill the audience later, but that's my specialty. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, on to the joke. I got 2 funny jokes for summer and fall. So I'll start with summer. What do you call a dog on the beach in the summer? Yep, Jackie got it. A hot dog. And for a fall joke, how do you mend a broken pumpkin? with a pumpkin patch.
Oh.
All right, I better quit while I'm ahead, Madam Toastmaster.
Now, we had Ryan Flory assigned as timer, but Shamir has offered to step in. So can you tell us about your duties, Shamir?
Ryan's here too.
Yeah,
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's here, so I don't think I have to.
He'll be stealing his job.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. As timer, I will make sure that you are both aware of the allotted time for your given topic and ensure your compliance with it in order to qualify. At different events throughout the meeting, for example, table topics, you'll be given 1 minute and 30 second to a 2-minute window in order to qualify. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, you will see.
I know that's because I'm sitting way back in the chair. When I lean forward, it looks fine.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, you will qualify with a green background. At 1 minute and 45 seconds, I will give you the warning that you should probably wrap it up. It's very bright yellow. And at 2 minutes, you will get the shepherd's hook and the red background to let you know to summarize. Most speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, which means you will see green at 5, yellow at 6, and your red at 7 minutes. And then evaluators are 2 to 3 minutes. So 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and 3 minutes. Each section has a specific buffer. In table topics, you will get a 15-second buffer. For speeches and evaluations, you have a 30-second buffer. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Now, the job of Jester Master was open. Does anyone care to take that over? Or as I think Margot said, with the, what's that?
I see Muklas raising his hand.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, can you tell us about what the Jester Master does?
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster. What a wonderful camaraderie in this club. I love this club. Jester Master is to highlight the good gestures displayed by table topic speakers or the speakers or all of the performers, including evaluators. Now, gestures are large part of communication. And this Zoom meeting, the hand is the most common one that we can all use for clapping or making a point or counting 1, 2, 3, etc. But there is a Toastmaster magazine article that shares most memorable speeches are characterized by hand gesture. Madam Toastmaster of the day, Carol Halstead.
Thank you. Now we have Charlie for our quiz master. Tell us about your role.
Mute yourself.
My role is to try to listen to everybody's speeches or when they talk and come up with some questions at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I hadn't made a toast yet, and the toast will be that this will be an enjoyable autumn in Western New York. Now, the word of the day, again, as a reminder, is camaraderie. I would like to now introduce Jill Rohring. She is our table topics master this morning. Jill.
Can I interrupt for a second? I just want to encourage more use of the chat room. I think Larry has just put the agenda there. And of course, the word of the day, camaraderie, is clearly posted by Kate. So please, many of you, if you have not tried or visited, use the chat room. That's another addition to this Toastmaster Zoom meeting to make it very powerful. Thank you. Sorry.
All right. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Table topics, studies, and rewards and teaches us to be, hang on, I gotta mute Steve's.
I'm already muted.
Mute the speaker.
You did.
Oh, because we can hear it. Oh, Christ. The speaker.
I couldn't hear any feedback. Could anybody else?
I could. I
could. Jill's like, I could.
Yeah. Oh. I don't think I could do it in a big stadium or something here. Anyhow, it is a little foggy here in Wilson. And that's obviously a sign that the seasons are changing. Summer is wrapping up. Fall is coming. Larry McKenzie, what have you done this summer that was not approved by New York State?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. What have I done that has not been approved by New York State this summer? Well,
maybe we should turn the recording off for this part.
Let me think. Where should I begin? Let's see. Let's begin with, I did a lot of remodeling at my house this summer. And in order to do that, typically what you have to do is file a permit with the city and ask for the inspector to come out and check everything out. Well, I filed permits back in June and then in July and haven't heard anything from the city. And then finally, about a week ago, I had a phone call from the city saying, hey, guess what? We would like to come out and check out your progress on your work. And I said, that would be great. And they said, all right, I'll give you a call. Oh, this was 2 weeks ago on Monday and set up a time to come out and check it out. So now it's been 2 more weeks. So in essence, in 9 weeks, I've done the work that I normally would have to get permission to do before I got permission. And then they'll come out and look at it after I'm done. And then I get even though I did something that I shouldn't have done before I had permission to do so, it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission sometimes. But I still have the fun part of giving the city a wonderful check for the ability to have it inspected after I am done. And I know that we might have some people that are on with us today, which I had already checked with. Hi, Tracy, in regards to some improvements on my property. But actually, the value of the house has not increased at all, trust me. And so things that are not approved by the governor. Well, I also have wore my mask, but not at the appropriate times, I guess you would say. And I believe I'm over 1.5 minutes because the red light's on. Bye-bye. And you know what? Today was also a good day for camaraderie, and I had that with all my friends.
Thank you, Larry. That was lovely. My next person, or should I say victim or challenged, Len. The summer of 2020 is here. It's almost gone.
If I might, I do have a jab today. I'm the Master. Can
Oh, are you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I shift this over to Samir? He doesn't appear to have a jab today.
Okay, we'll go to Samir. I was going through your list. Apparently, I did it before you wrote yours down. Samir,
Wow.
the summer of 2020 is basically over. You'd be glad that the fall of 2020 is coming, and why?
Yeah, I'm glad for the fall. I guess the summer has been somewhat interminable. There's been a lot of things that you can't do, very few things you can, and the things that you can are fraught with a bit of risk, higher than normal, and perhaps with cascading network effects that are exponential. So that's been interesting. I've restricted most of my activity, but I think in the fall, you know, there's a chance that we can engage with our friends and do some outdoors things. But unfortunately, it seems like the pandemic hasn't really abated. I think Ohio just joined the list of quarantine states for us here in New York. I noticed for a while Cleveland was increasing. My guest last week commented that it was a very apropos theme we had for the meeting, but then someone at the end chimed in with some disinformation, and he thought that it was kind of interesting that, you know, somebody spends an hour meeting listening to facts and figures and then just spouts whatever they want to. So that was, you know, there's been a lot of back and forth, what is true, what is not. So, you know, I think that's not going to change in the fall. So I don't know if I guess I'm looking forward to the entertainment factor of it. Although, you know, I will enjoy camaraderie with my friends, hanging out with them and seeing them when I can, hopefully this weekend. But yeah, there's a lot of chaos. So just trying to manage that as best I can. Thanks.
Thank you, Samir. Jackie, did you have a summer project this year that you wanted to do? Did you complete it? Or is it still sitting there looking at you?
Well, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. My summer project was staying alive, so I tried to avoid risks. However, I did enjoy camaraderie with my friends, and yesterday was a fine example of that. We all joined together with Joe Budnack's mom at her house, seated out on the patio, enjoying the fine day and social distancing. Everybody brings their lunch. However, we got together for dessert because Fran's an excellent baker. You've all had her cookies. She made us a lemon meringue pie, which was top notch. It was a nice way to spend an afternoon with friends, a very long, long afternoon. I think probably the only little job I've tried to get done over the summer was reduce some of the clutter in the house. So I did put a book table out and give away a lot of books, and I have to do that again, but the rain has been interfering with my plans. I think all of us just need to relax and live within the guidelines that we have, and hopefully we'll get through this before too much longer. I don't know, they tell us another wave might be coming, and my doctor confirmed that when I had a chat with him recently. He's retiring because he doesn't want to deal with this anymore. And I don't blame him, although I'll miss him. I have a very good relationship and a lot of camaraderie with my doctor. So I'll have to start all over with a new one. But I think all of us are going to get through this, hopefully without too many more losses in our lives. So everybody, wear your mask and social distance, and see you again soon.
Thank you, Jackie. I think I speak for all of us where we're glad that you achieved your summer project of staying alive.
Thank you.
The alternative is not wonderful. Word Master, can I have a word report?
Sure thing. All of our contestants used the word today, Jackie, twice. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
And Mr. Timer, how did they do?
Madam Table Topics, I am pleased to report that 2 of our 3 candidates qualified with time. Samir at 1:43 and Jackie at 1:42. Larry, however, did not quite wrap it up quick enough and came in at 2:25. So Samir and Jackie have qualified. Larry has escaped the buffer.
See what you get, Larry, for doing the project without your permit in place.
Very true. Bear with me. I will be putting up the poll in a few minutes. It just errored out on me. I have to redo it.
All right. And I will turn the table back to Carol Ann.
Thank you. I did neglect to mention that our Master of the Day is Len Thornton, and I'm sure he has my name on the list already.
Yes, my job today is Master, to count all the ahs, ums, pauses, filler words, things that detract from our message today in this wonderful camaraderie of AM Lockport Toastmasters. I started my job 28 minutes ago, and I have many notations made. I will report at the end of the meeting. Carol Ann.
Thank you. Although I have mentioned that summer is my favorite season, I will not deny that the glorious colors of fall, as the leaves change, especially when you're looking at them in a hilly area with a backdrop of an azure blue sky. Wanted to mention that everyone should experience Letchworth State Park in the fall. The stunning color of the leaves and the vastness of the gorge, which actually is called the Grand Canyon of the East. And the sounds, the Genesee River cascading over the upper, middle, and lower falls. And occasionally you will hear a train whistle as that train sometimes traverses the trestle near the upper falls. And okay, I would like to, at this time, get to the speaking portion. Our first speaker is Dave Licata. His evaluator is Steve Smith. Steve, could you tell us about Dave's speech today?
No. I have no idea what he's talking about, time frame or anything here.
Well, here's the situation. It's connect with the audience. It's from Pathways, and it's all in the website, in the agenda. So it was available, the forms for evaluation and the time. The time is 5 to 7. And my title is Oral Interpretation. So you can download it from the agenda, Steve.
No, I can't.
I know you can't, I'm sorry. But it was all there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Well, I didn't leave you out to dry. I didn't hang you up to dry.
Take it away, Mr. Licata.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Mm.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Now, first thing I want to do, I want to thank Carol Ann for the theme, because I do enjoy the transition from summer to autumn. Incredibly, I always look forward to the start of the new school year, which is ridiculous. I was never a scholar. I was barely a student, but I still enjoy getting back to school, enjoying the camaraderie of the gang in the homeroom, and so on and so forth. So I really enjoy this idea. And it has a double meaning when you're of a certain age, because now we are going in, some of us, very, very few of us, are going into the autumn of our years. Now, I'm the fella at Toastmasters who constantly calls on my brother and sister Toastmasters to work on making their speech more dramatic. I'd like to share with you an exercise or an idea, a concept that might help you make your speeches more dramatic in the future. So in your spare moments, you can practice what we call oral interpretation. 100 years ago, back at NCCC, the first course you took after Public Speaking 101 was oral interpretation. And this was the reading of well-known prose or poetry. And if you work on this, because you just can't get up and read something, and as we've said in Toastmasters so many times in the past, that every time you pick up something and you read it to an audience, they're double critical, because if you fall down and you muff it, they say, well, what's wrong with you? You had that right in your hands. Couldn't you read it, for heaven's sake? So if you were to compete in oral interpretation the way we did back in that class, preparation would be very important. Now, for my dear friend Larry McKenzie, we went back to NCCC together, and we took theatrical speaking, or speech for theater. And what I'm going to try to do is that I am going to try, if a word ends in a vowel, I'm going to let it sail off very nicely, nice and smooth. But if it ends in a consonant, I am going to try to make it very sturdy, a nice quick ending, a nice curt ending. So you can watch for that and make a note of that. And when you try this at home and you want to practice, that's not a bad thing to know about. And that's one of the things that Larry and I took away. The other thing is, and that was the best thing about the class, Larry and I learned how to relax. And everybody's saying, what the hell did you and Larry need to relax for? You're two very relaxed guys. But I found out that I'm not that relaxed. So the first thing we're going to do is going to actors ready. I'm going to let my shoulders drop. Give a few deep breaths. Make sure that my shoulders drop, my chest is relaxed, my diaphragm isn't tense. And then go a little bit out of the shot here while I grab. I'm going to read two pieces, and it can be poetry, and poetry and songs are the same thing. So we're going to read two popular songs, but I'm not going to sing. Relax, relax. You don't have to reach for any libations. And I chose two pieces that deal with this passage of time, this transition. The first one is a look back and the second one is a look forward. When I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for small town girls and soft summer nights. We'd hide from the light on the village green when I was 17. When I was 21, it was a very good year. A very good year for city girls who lived up the stairs with all that perfumed hair, and it came undone when I was 21. When I was 35, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for blue-blooded girls of independent means. We'd ride in limousines. Their chauffeurs would drive. When I was 35. Now the days grow short. I'm in the autumn of the years. And I think of my life as vintage wine from fine old kegs. From the brim to the dregs, it pours sweet and clear. It was a very good year. The second selection kind of screams autumn, and I hear this song and I always think of autumn. For it's a long, long time from May to December, and the days grow short when you reach September. And the autumn weather turns the leaves to flame, and I haven't got time for the waiting game. And the days dwindle down to a precious few. September, November, and these few precious days I'll spend with you. These precious days I'll spend with you. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster.
Our second speaker today is Tracy Farrell. And Tracy will be evaluated by Larry Eggert. Larry, can you tell us about Tracy's speech?
I can, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Tracy will be speaking from the High Performance Leadership Manual, and the purpose of the project is to apply leadership and planning knowledge to develop a project plan, organize a guidance committee, and implement a plan with the help of a team. Her time is 5 to 7 minutes, and do you have her topic?
I don't, Larry. Tracy, may I have your title?
I do have it. It is, do you know much about the eradication of polio? You will.
Tracy.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So what really is polio? It's one of those diseases that happened a long time ago, most of the time before we were born. Actually, I do know somebody that's a couple of years younger than me that did have polio, but it's still not something we know a lot about. And actually, polio is one of those paralyzing and potentially dangerous diseases, most commonly contracted by children under the age of 5. It's a highly contagious disease with common flu-like symptoms, such as a sore throat, fever, tiredness, headache, a stiff neck, and stomach ache. But for a few of those who've contracted polio, it affects the brain and the spinal cord, which could lead to meningitis And for 1 out of 200 paralysis. For 2 to 10 of those suffering paralysis, the end result is death. The virus spreads from person to person, usually through contaminated water, and can attack our nervous system. Sadly, once contracted, there's no cure, and the prevention of this disease is vital for all of us. In 1916, there was a major polio outbreak in New York, which killed more than 2,000 people and paralyzed thousands more. The height of this outbreak was in the 40s and 50s, and polio was the most feared disease at the time, affecting nearly 50,000 people every year. So kind of like a horror movie, it arrived every summer, striking without warning. No one really knew how the disease was transmitted or what caused it. And at the time, there's a lot of conspiracies and wild theories. Some said that the disease was imported through bananas or stray cats. For years, parents would refuse to let their kids go to swimming pools or movie theaters. They all closed during the polio season for fear that their children would catch the polio. Does it sound like anything we know of today? And that's the reason, because there was no cure or vaccine. What happened in 1916 forced the world to really stop and find a solution for this deadly disease. But it wasn't until 1954 when an American physician, Dr. Jonas Salk, developed the first safe and effective vaccine against polio. And it wasn't approved until a year later. This outbreak really highlighted just how deadly polio is and how quickly a virus can spread. Obviously now, with the outbreak of COVID-19, we do understand and know how quickly a virus can spread and how difficult it is to eradicate it. In 1979, Rotary International made the eradication of polio their top priority, and they began a multi-year project to immunize over 6 million children in the Philippines during that year. However, they soon found out that eradicating this disease was a mammoth task. And at the time, it was clear that to really make a difference, they would need a lot more resources and funding. So what they did was they launched Polio Plus. And it was really, they had a fundraising target of $120 million. This was the first and largest internationally coordinated project, because Rotary is really an organization that covers the entire world, that covered the private sector and had the support of a public health initiative. 3 years later, Rotary joined with the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and the Center for Disease Control. At this point, it was estimated that there were 350,000 cases of polio in over 125 countries. With more organizations joining the fight, they were able to take a more aggressive approach in the eradication of polio. And over the next few years, there was really a large push to vaccinate as many children as possible. In 1995, 165 million children were vaccinated in just 1 week in China and India. And by 2000, a record 550 million children received the vaccine. In 2003, they've come so far that only 6 countries had reported cases of polio. That'd be Afghanistan, Egypt, India, Nigeria, and Pakistan. In order to help in their fight, they organized a National Immunization Day, which was October 24th, and it was held in 23 African countries, targeting 80 million children. So by 2006, through these efforts, Egypt and Nigeria were declared polio-free, leaving just 4 countries affected. Today, Rotary can announce that there's only 2 countries affected with endemic polio. That would be Afghanistan and Pakistan. And last summer, Nigeria passed their 3-year barrier without a reported case. So that really means that they're close to becoming declared polio-free. But keeping this initiative now is really at the forefront of ending polio. As the Secretary of International Development had once said, if we were to pull back on immunizations, we could see over 100,000 new cases every year in a decade. And obviously, that would be a tragedy to the entire world if we were to make these steps that far back. Rotary's been at the forefront of this work. And although there's a lot of work and there's no end in sight, a final push would require a formidable amount of work and resources, including fundraising. Luckily, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation joined with Rotary to be the driving force to end this. And they've actually committed to raising $50 million per year over the next 3 years and a match of 2 to 1 for the funds raised in polio. My job, although I know I can't raise millions of dollars, is to work with the Lockport Rotary Club to bring awareness to this cause in the city of Lockport. October is actually Polio Awareness Month, and my job will to bring that awareness to the city of Lockport. I've started right here with my friends at Toastmasters. We'll once again have a speaker at the Rotary Club to highlight the effects of polio eradication. We hope to have a proclamation from the mayor of the city of Lockport to really highlight to everybody in the city about polio. There'll be a polio awareness flag risen at City Hall, a marquee on Wright's Corner self-storage, and hopefully we'll be able to get the Palace to light up their marquee. More ideas are coming soon, but obviously as Toastmaster or as Rotarians, we don't want to downplay the effects of polio. There's a lot of other awareness items out in the month of October. There's breast cancer awareness, and there's also domestic violence. They're all important initiatives, but we know if we relax and hold up, it will once again come to haunt us. So hopefully, along with the camaraderie of my good friends here at Toastmasters, we can all remember just how far we have come in the eradication of polio. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Our third speaker of the day is Jen Czapla. She will be evaluated by Mark Campus. Mark, can you tell us about Jen's speech?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Good morning. Jen is working out of level 3 of the Visionary Communication Path. Her project today is to develop a communication plan. Her purpose statement: the purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing a communication plan. Mr. Timer, her time is 5 to 7 minutes. And Madam Toastmaster, since I have the title and I suspect that you don't, I'd like to proceed with the introduction if that's okay. I would like to introduce Jen Czapla with Communication 201. Communication 201, Jen Czapla.
Thank you, Mark. Communication 201. Communication is one of the things that we do here at AM Lockport. Many of us started out actually enjoying speaking. I know not too many people actually get into Toastmasters because they hate speaking, although there are a few. However, in my development in Toastmasters, I have learned a couple of lessons, and many of these came organically for me. Interestingly, about this project, developing a communication plan, asks you to think about those questions that maybe you've already come to on your own over the last several years if you were an experienced Toastmaster prior to the Pathways program. And one of those questions is, what are your goals for the speech that you're giving? What is the message that you want the audience to receive? Because I have to be honest, when I first started speaking at Toastmasters, I often thought about the story I wanted to tell and not necessarily what I wanted the audience to receive, what I wanted them to take away or think about. And that's changed over time. So having this communication plan that asks you to think about those questions, I think is very helpful and informative. In fact, it's a piece of feedback that I often give in my evaluations or to other people. What is it that you want the audience to take away? I think a communication plan is helpful simply for that fact. Now, many of you may not know that I work in project management. So although I don't necessarily sit down every time and develop a communication plan, I do think about how the people that I'm working with are going to be impacted. They all have very different directions that they're coming from and different things that are important to them in a project. And it's important to understand all of those different perspectives to make sure you're covering all of the important parts of a project. Preparation is always key. And so a thing like a communication plan makes you sit down and write out what that plan is. For me, that often looks like an agenda, and I don't generally send it out any more than a few hours in advance. But what I found is the days where I'm rushed and behind and I don't send out an agenda, my meetings are much less productive. I run off topic. I forget to cover things that I should have covered in those meetings. So preparing ahead of time helps you deliver the message that you want to deliver. It helps you see those takeaways. One of those items is also how you are communicating, using the proper communication channel. We saw a great example today in our Toastmasters meeting, making sure that you're communicating via a channel that the other person is comfortable with and understands. I have coworkers who don't check their email. I know not to email those coworkers because they're not going to respond. So it's important to know your audience, whether it's an audience of one or an audience of many. In fact, for many of you who know me, I received a communication over the summer. It was in a postcard form from an old friend, Lampy, and it was the incorrect communication channel. And Lampy suffered the consequences. So it's very important to make sure that you're using the correct channel of communication. Having goals, knowing the message that you want your audience to receive and not just what you want to talk about. Preparing ahead of time and communicating effectively takes time and planning. Now, it's still a lesson that I'm learning at AM Lockport. I don't always prepare as well as I can. But it shows when I do not do those things. It shows when I'm not ready, when I haven't sketched out what I want to talk about, when I haven't thought about what I want you, my audience, to get out of it. For all of you as Toastmasters today, I want you to remember these key points. And I'm sure that along your own Toastmasters journey, you've learned some of these things to think about how you want the audience to receive your message, to think about how you should be communicating that message and doing it appropriately. So fellow Toastmasters, in your journey as communicators, may you ever be growing to another new level. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, may I have a timer report for our speakers?
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, our first two speakers showed great camaraderie, finishing even on the digits. Dave finished at exactly 7 minutes. Unfortunately, Tracy finished at 9 minutes and did go over and extend the buffer. And Jen came in at 5 minutes and 19 seconds, not wanting to end at exactly 5 nor 6 minutes, driving and creating her own path. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. See, now will we have the vote for our speakers? Now, September usually brings a routine back to families as school starts and students go back to school Monday through Friday. Well, not this year. Students spend part of the week in school, part of the week at home online. And also, this is a different autumn for sports fans. Usually, we have many fans in the stands at baseball games, and they're awaiting the October World Series. And also, we have stands full at the football games representing the 12th man. Now, may I have a report from evaluator Steve Smith regarding Dave's speech.
Ah, there we go, I guess. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, particularly David. David, we're preaching the same message here about being more dramatic during our speeches. Your whole main theme was connecting with the audience, and to do that, you focused on one tool for doing that: oral interpretation, interpretive reading. Now, right off the bat, I liked your setup. You pulled the camera back so we could see more of you. That way we could see your gestures and see what you were doing. And I thought that was a nice touch. Now, I've always defined interpretive reading as reading without sounding like you're reading, because nothing is more boring. I will talk about this report today and this is what happened. No, you have to put life into your words, and that's what you were trying to tell us today. And I really like that. I think you mentioned that preparation is important. I think you should have emphasized that a little more, because I will tell you, I spend more time in preparation when I'm doing a speech of this nature than I do any other type of speech I do. I'm going over and over again, listening to the words, figuring out how to breathe more life into them, make it more dramatic. So that is an important factor in doing that. Then becoming familiar with the material so you're not stumbling over the words while you're reading it. You gave us a lot to chew on today, and I'm glad for that. You gave 2 examples of how to read interpretively. You did that. Not only describe it, you did it. That was a great way to punch home your message today. I found it all very interesting. I agree with you 100%, and I thank you for bringing us this message today. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Now, can we proceed to Larry Eggert, who is evaluating Tracy's speech today. Larry.
Thank you again, Madam Toastmaster. And again, good morning, fellow Toastmasters, especially Tracy. I enjoyed the speech. I think it was a perfect speech to give in the situation that we're in today in society, linking polio, although you didn't do it directly, I think it was kind of indirectly, you linked polio to what's going on today. And if you listen to your introduction and the way you started the speech, I think it was good the way you threw a lot of statistics out there. And again, things that we see similar to the pandemic going on today. It's amazing how history tends to repeat itself. You know, some of the things people did, some of the misinformation that was out there. I know Len last week gave a speech on the information on COVID and some of the things that weren't true. Stray cats cause polio. I thought that was pretty good. But again, it's a good linkage. So I think you started by building everybody's interest in it, and I think you did it very well. You used statistics very well. You didn't overuse them, but I think it was important that you talk about statistics. You talked about the history behind polio. I thought that was good. I like the way you rolled Rotary into that as you got through your speech. I thought that, I didn't realize, quite frankly, that Rotary was that involved in eradicating polio or helping to eradicate polio. What could you do different? It was pretty good, actually. I really had to dig kind of deep for a couple things. Vocal variety, maybe. You were a little more describing, which with this subject, I guess it'd be kind of hard to get too crazy with it because you're talking about something pretty serious, but maybe a little more vocal variety. Gestures, you did one air quote, but everything else was pretty much just you talking. So that might be something you want to work on. And obviously the time. Again, my last speech, I went over by 1.5 minutes, so I commiserate with that. But overall, I thought it was a really good speech. It was well paced. It was well delivered, clear language. And I think, again, it was perfect for the time. And I liked, in the end, I liked the way you ended it. I always have trouble ending my speeches. And I'm impressed when people can really give a good ending, and you did. Just how far we have come in eradicating polio. And it was, boom, it was over. And it was a great ending to a great speech. So well done.
Thank you, Larry. Now our third evaluator, Mark Campus, he'll be evaluating Jen's speech. Mark.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Can you confirm that you all hear me okay? Because my headset just died on me, so I have to improvise and go to plan B, ditch the mission control headset. So Jen, great speech this morning. I really enjoyed the topic. Clearly, communication is critical in just about every life situation that we have. And I think it was a great message about focusing on the audience. And I liked some of the examples that you used in your speech. Let's talk about your strengths as a speaker. I thought focusing first on a very Zoom specific item, I thought you did a great job with your camera position. Clearly your laptop or phone or tablet is up high and it's positioned away from you a bit so that we can get a good look at you from a level plane, and then also it's back far enough that we can see your hand gestures, which today were excellent, by the way. I thought your eye contact was good. In a previous conversation, you had shared that you have a tendency to keep focusing on the screen. I didn't see a lot of that today. I thought you were pretty well focused on the camera, so great job with that. Wonderful facial expressions. A lot of smiling, something I wish I could incorporate a little bit more into my speaking style. You're very, very good at it. Overall, you have a terrific speaking presence. Now, building upon these things, a couple of items that could have made this speech even more effective, and these are little nitpicky things. I would have loved to hear more examples, more anecdotes. Not everybody might have known the story of Lampy. Maybe elaborate a little bit more, or just give us a few more things that we can relate to about communication done right and communication done very, very wrong. And number two, just a continued focus on the camera. Again, nitpicky thing, at times I noticed your eyes dipping down. You would bring them back up, but they would dip down a little bit uncharacteristically. Now, if you were speaking to us in a room, it'd be different. You'd be focusing on different people, but as much as you can, try to stay as fixated on that camera as you can.
Overall, I thought it was a great message, the importance of focusing on your audience. I loved how you talked about practice and preparation. Clearly, for today's speech, your practice and preparation was evident, so excellent job, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. May we have a timers report on our evaluators? Ryan.
Yes. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I am pleased to report that all three of our evaluators came in within the allotted time. Steve at 2 minutes on the dot, Larry at 2 minutes 25 seconds, and Mark at 2 minutes 38 seconds. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Right now, I would like to read a poem. It's by John Keats, and the title is On Autumn, or to autumn. Season of mist and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run, to bend with apples the mossed cottage trees and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core, to swell the gourd and plump the hazel shells with a sweet kernel to set budding more, and still more later flowers for the bees, until they think warm days will never cease, for summer has o'erbrimmed their clammy cells. Who has not seen thee oft amid thy store? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind, or on a half-reaped furrow sound asleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies while they hooks spares the next swath, and all its twined flowers, and sometimes like a gleaner thou dost keep steady thy laden head across a brook, or by a cider press with patient look. Thou watchest last oozing hours by hours. Where are the songs of spring? Ah, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too, while barred clouds bloom the soft dying day and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue, then in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn among the river sallows borne aloft, or sinking as the light wind lies or dies, and full-grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne, hedge crickets sing, and now with treble soft the red breast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. Now, I think I will go to our general evaluator, Margot, and who maybe can assist in giving her evaluation, plus reviewing all of our job holders.
Sure, be
reports.
happy to, Carol Ann.
Margot.
Thank you for this opportunity. So starting off, the meeting started pretty much on time as we can get with Zoom. And Carol, you had some great filler. I loved some of your openings and introduction. Your use of language was fabulous when you asked Eric to give us a chuckle. The terms for the fall, I thought that was great. You had filler all throughout the meeting at appropriate times. I loved the poem. There used to be a manual on reading out loud. I don't know where that fits in the current pathway system, but I would love to have you represent that and actually get credit for it. Great poem. I do have, there's an ah for you, Mr. Ah Master, because I'm hesitating. Please, when we do table topics, nobody is a victim. It's a competition. It's something else. This is a real bugaboo with me because half of life is being put on the spot to speak. So I'm glad we did not have any guests this week to hear that phrase. Sorry, it's a one of my issues. Sorry, Jill. One of our three evaluators did completely different kinds of sandwiches today. Steve was a very balanced sandwich. He had a number of points up front that Dave could improve, a couple of things, or a number of things he did well, a couple of things to improve, and he followed it with an equal number of things that he did well. Very balanced sandwich. Then you had Larry. Larry had this little teeny slice of bread on the top, a little bit of filler, and a huge piece at the bottom to support at the bottom. And then we had Mark. Mark put all his bread on the top, a couple things to improve, and here's some more on the bottom. So we had three very different sandwiches, but everybody, I hope, felt very encouraged to come back and speak with us again. That being said, I'm going to start with our grammarian, and may I please have a grammarian's report this morning?
Thank you, Margot.
You're welcome.
My grammarian report is brief, which some people may be pleased to hear. Some of these reports are very long.
Nope.
Margot is not, apparently. Just a few improvements. Charlie, I heard him say everyone speeches when they talk. Definitely awkward there. Dave Licata, he said double, double, double critical. I don't know if that should be triple critical. I'm not sure if he did it for dramatic effect. So it's just two things. But positives, I always seem to note positive vocabulary, and I'm not sure if it's part of the grammarian report, but I'm going to say
yes, it anyway. Is. Yes.
Samir, interminable. He said that. Carol said azure, I believe. I love the fact that Dave's speech had some rhyme in it. That is something Margot is an expert at. I feel like she can do it on the spot. I wish I had that skill. And Larry used the word commiserate. So I love that word too. Good job all.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Master, may we please have your report?
Yes, Madam General Evaluator, with pleasure. Carol, I think you're aware of this. Over 5, quite a few more than 5. Also, you used now as a filler word twice and once. Going down the list here, Beth, I didn't hear any. Gerald, just 1. Oh, I'm sorry, Beth, you had 2. I had your name here twice. Eric had an anyway, which was drawn out and clearly used in a filler word capacity there. Ryan was clean. Muklas was clean. Charlie was clean. Jill, I just counted 1. Larry had 2 and a restart. You had I've. And a filler of I guess the, which was really unnecessary. Samir had 4 and a long pause. Jackie just used the word but, an extended but. Other than that, clean. Steve just used a long now as a crutch there. Larry, only 1. Tracy only had 2. Good job. Mark Campus, I counted 2. Jen had a long so as a filler, but that was it in your entire speech. Larry Eggert, you started out wonderfully. You had a short repeat, and then in a span of 2 seconds, you had 3 ums, and then you followed it by a few more, so greater than 5, and also a long and. And Margot was clean. That is my report, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. That being said, I'll move on to our quiz master. Charlie, what you got for us?
I got a few questions. Where would you find the Grand Canyon of the East?
Letchworth.
Letchworth. Who made the lemon meringue pie?
Joe Budnick's mom.
Oh, Joe's mom.
Ann Budnick.
What month is polio?
October.
Awareness Month?
October.
October, yes. When did the an outbreak of polio back in the early days? What date?
1950s.
1917. And the last question is, Carol mentioned one place where she liked to go.
Deep Run Beach.
Yeah. Also mentioned Canandaigua.
Yes.
That's my report. Thank you.
And all
Thank
the
you,
county fairs. I don't know anybody who visits all the county fairs. Wow, Carol. You should tell us some stories about that sometime.
That would be good. So, Kate, since you're already unmuted, camaraderie was our word of the day. How did people do with it today?
Thank you, Margot. I thought we would hear more of it, but it didn't tie in with the theme specifically. Margot, you used it. Ryan, Tracy, Dave, Len, our table topics competitors, participants, and Carol. Anybody I missed, I apologize. What's the word of the day, everybody?
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. There you go.
Thank you, Margot.
Maybe that should be one of the traditional questions asked by the quote masters. What's the word of the day? Then everybody will use it. With that, I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster, or shall I turn it over to our president to award the ribbons? Moklis. I'm sorry, I forgot Moklis. Sorry. I had GM written down twice and I thought I did it. Moklis, your report, please. Sorry, I have a...
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hand gestures, hand gestures. I think today's meeting was great. The best, I thought David Licata had the best composer body. He really incorporates the body language in all his presentation. Larry did a great job in the table topic. Samir, more hand movement would be good. Jackie, more facial. As I said already, David did a great job. I can't, he's excellent, excellent, excellent. And I was very impressed with Tracy's facial expression. She's not here, but she really did an outstanding job, example how to really see facial expression in a speech. Jen,
thank you, Moklis.
David Licata, whole body. And she had excellent, excellent, excellent hand movement. Steve had a good hand movement during the evaluation. Larry Eggert, I think people have pointed it out, but maybe it's my duty to point it out again. You keep your hands like this for most of the time. Like when you are giving a speech, you're putting your hand together. So, and you did move out. You did go out and use the hand gestures quite a bit. So it was very impressive, but I think somewhere you need to undo the hand clasping and then either lose or do something that brings it together. Overall, I believe everybody did very good job. I would like to see more hand clapping, gestures, and body. I think we all could do a lot more. Follow the example of David Licata and Jennifer, because those two are really, and I'm trying to follow them. I'm just trying to put my body into the picture, because in Zoom, that's what's important, is to bring, and otherwise it looks not as strong camaraderie as when you are clapping, laughing, and etc. So that is my report. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to point out, Kate sent out a wonderful schedule. She's volunteered for Toastmaster next week. Thank you, Kate. So check that to see what you're going to do. Do you have a theme? Or not yet?
I do, actually. Thanks, because I was going to make some announcements. So before we hand it over to our Mr. President, I'll give a final wrap-up announcement right now. Okay, so I did send out the schedule. We had a change up of speaker lineup a bit, but everything looks in order. Our speakers have confirmed as well. Our theme will be timely for me and some of our members. The theme is bagpipes and kilts and whiskey. Kilts and whiskey. And our speakers will be Jackie and Larry McKenzie and Moklis. So thank you for our speakers confirming with me. And if I overwhelmed anyone with duplicates or you need to take on a role, please let me know. We can make adjustments. And we have the schedule not quite up on the website yet, but I'll get that ASAP. And I'd like to make another VPE announcement. Our club will have a brand new DTM. Once TI completes his final submissions, please offer a Zoom standing ovation, I suppose, in some way for DTM Mark Campos. Mark, congratulations, DTM. Bravo. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
I had to do it. Thank you. And thank you for that extra announcement. That's wonderful to hear. Congratulations, Mark. And with that, Eric, would you like to take over, do ribbons? We have about 8 minutes left for any other announcements.
Oh, I think you nailed it on the head today, Margot. Thank you very much for your general evaluation report. I would like to announce our winners today. Can I have a drum roll, please, Larry McKenzie? Do you have a drum roll?
Best I could do.
Thank you. Jackie Kenney is our best table topic speaker today. Congratulations to Jackie. Our best evaluator is Larry, aka Lawrence Eggert. Our best speaker today, and I'm going to have to watch more of the Lampy videos. Jen Czapla is our best speaker of the day. Club officers, we're going to do a quick meeting after this. Post Toasties is up next. And also tonight is the social hour. Please join us at 7 p.m. for social hour, or as we call it, Drink Fest. Anyway, I do have a final joke, but I don't know if I
not call it Drink Fest. Come on, Eric. Oh my goodness.
It evolves into one, but we don't call it that.
Oh my gosh.
I do have a final joke, but I don't know if I should say it because I think it will, I don't know, gross anybody out.